Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks, y'all. So in this reading, we are talking about a bullet. One bullet, but it has two names. First, it is being described as a sniper bullet. This means while you were minding your own business, someone somewhere else put your name in their mouth. I want you to imagine it is a bright, sunny, beautiful day. At the moment someone starts to speak about you, the sun immediately hides behind the clouds. Now it's cloudy, now it's dreary, now it's gray. That is what happened with this sniper bullet. You're minding your business, someone speaks about you, but the quality of what they were saying was so far from the truth that even the sun had to hide. So when we're talking about shade coming in, that means what happens next. What comes out of this person's mouth next is not going to bring enlightenment. It is not going to bring truth. It's not going to bring clarity. Think about all the things the sun does. But on a cloudy day, think about the things that you can't see or the things you don't have access to. Someone speaks, someone shoots a sniper bullet, and the quality of the shot based on what was said about you was enough to bring in shade. The sun totally disappears. So we got a sniper bullet. Now think about somebody who says, I'm catching strays. When you're talking about catching a stray, that means you unexpectedly received criticism, insults, negative attention, like it wasn't intended for you. So a stray bullet hits an unintended target. So not only is somebody hitting you with a sniper bullet, but at the same time, they might say, I didn't mean it. It wasn't intentional. That wasn't my plan, right? So one bullet, it is lined up for you perfectly. But at the same time, you will be told, I didn't mean it. It looked like it was for you, but it really wasn't for you, y'all. So this is that kind of situation. We've got the energy of confusion. Now, who was the bullet shot towards? Meaning, when the sniper lined up the shot, who were they intending to hit? But then you got a stray bullet. Who was the casualty? Who just happened to be in the way? This is who I'm talking to for the duration of this reading. I'm talking to somebody who was called a kernel. You are literally described as a seed. You are a trigger point, a seedling for change. Wherever you go, growth happens. You cannot help it. Whether is it a project, it's a relationship, it's a career, it's a job, whatever. Wherever you are planted, your actions, your words, your behaviors, they don't have to be big and dramatic, but whatever you do, growth happens next. Okay? You take a lot of small steps, but you also encourage a lot of small steps of growth to happen inside of people. So you are that kind of person, but you also had a bullet, a shot fired at you that was half sniper, half stray. Now, I also get the card for the page of coins. So either you are being described as a page of coins or you're the seedling of change. And in the process of you changing and growing something, the shot was fired at the very thing you were holding. So either you were supposed to take the impact or whatever it is you were growing was supposed to take the impact. When we're talking about a page of coins, this means charm. You possess a level of charm, or whatever it is you're growing has charm about it. It could be aesthetically or physically good looking. This could also be true about you. But this is also like common sense. You have a common sense about you that can materialize money out of thin air. Wherever you go, good things happen. The coins, the energy of the coins, especially for the king and the queen, we're talking about the Midas touch. Whatever type of soil you put your hands in, fertility is going to be evident. So you take a shot. Now I have a card. This is from my dark or black mirror deck. It says naked before the stars. This is about a level of acceptance, but this is also about your relationship with perfection. meaning perfection is an impossible location. You will never arrive to perfection. And so this level of acceptance is saying you have finally gotten to the point, being this trigger, being this seedling for change, where you accept every piece of you. You love every piece of you. You are unapologetic about you. And when you can accept all of you, well, then you can identify all the ways in which you are a seedling for change. And at the very moment when this is happening, because we got the page of coins. So when you're thinking about the court cards, you got page, knight, king, queen. But to be the page means you're like a teenager, either whatever it is you're growing or just the spirit that is growing in you. The thing that you are learning to accept about you, it is at a very new stage. You're at a transformative moment when a shot is fired. Finally, why is the shot fired? Because we're talking about you being a blessing. Somebody connects you as being this seedling for change immediately to blessings, means wherever you go, blessings follow. Whatever you touch, blessings are going to come. And so when you were naked, when you were stripped before the stars, when you accept every piece of you, you identify with all of the qualities that make you this trigger point. But somebody wants to interrupt this. So the way in which the interruption happens is what we're going to talk about in the reading. But generally speaking, you were a seedling for change and you got hit with some type of shot, right? But if the shot was fired and the sun was hidden, this means whatever the shot was, it was not wrapped in truth. It was not wrapped in authenticity, light, or clarity. So the quality of this shot matters, especially for somebody who is a trigger point. My handmade card begins the reading. It says, God puts us in very uncomfortable trials to refine, strengthen, and mature us. So if you are in a position where you can get hit with a sniper bullet, or if you're in a position where you can catch a stray, the first piece of information says God allowed it. So when the shot comes, did God already know it was going to come? Yes. When the stray bullet clips you, did the Most High already understand that this is going to be something that involved your energy? Absolutely. Now, why was this a situation that you had to experience? Well, yes, it was uncomfortable. Yes, it was a trial, but it refined you, meaning something about you, something about an aspect of you, it needed to be developed. It needed to be matured. There was something in you that was demonstrating itself as weak, and it wasn't honoring your strength. Or there were literally pieces of you that were immature that needed to be made mature. Whatever this situation was, even if you got hit with a stray bullet, even if it was uncomfortable, you came out stronger, you came out more mature, and you developed, you refined in ways that you could not have unless we were in this situation. Now, I have a card that says Nostalgia Trap. This talks about yearning for the past, preventing growth, only remembering good memories, and dismissing the bad. One of the situations that you may have been put in where a stray bullet or a sniper bullet was fired, this was also a situation where we could call it a nostalgia trap. So we were put in a place that seemed very uncomfortable, but it used to be comfortable. We're talking about nostalgia. We're going back to the past. And so if you're a seedling for change, can God put you in a space where change is not appreciated, change is not honored, but you still yearn for change? Or do you become just like your environment? Do you just assimilate? So in order for shots to be fired, that means that one, we're going to be out of place, because anybody that is speaking about you to the point where the sun hides, this is somebody who doesn't have access to a certain level of clarity or consciousness. If you open your mouth and the sun hides, that is an indication that whatever level of consciousness you are speaking out, it ain't taking nobody nowhere. You ain't taking nobody nowhere because the sun's hiding, right? But when you're speaking about a seedling for change. And so one of the things that this bullet is supposed to do when it hits you, it is supposed to trap you in a past version of self. This is a nostalgia trap. Now, to you, this is really uncomfortable, but the goal of this situation is to get you to become what you used to be. Right? You're at this moment of change. Whatever you are, whatever you're holding, it is about to grow. And this is the exact moment when the shot is taken. The idea is that you refuse growth. You accept weakness. That you step no further. The shot is supposed to scare you so much that you totally drop the seed. You don't want to go anymore. That is the point, but it's supposed to look like an accident. So listen, if you get hit with something, but it's not intended for you, you're supposed to be able to make peace with the fact that I felt the impact of that shot, but it wasn't really for me, so I'm safe to go forward. But you are supposed to be so scared because you've already felt the impact. You're supposed to be so scared of going forward. It doesn't even matter if it was for you or not. The impact doesn't come into you any less. To get hit with a shot is to get hit with a shot. The bullet doesn't care that it didn't have your name on it. The bullet is going to hit you in the same way that it hits the next person. The bullet doesn't care. Impact is impact. And so the idea is whatever you went through, whatever this bullet was, it was supposed to get you to drop a seed because this is a seed that is going to bring you change and transformation. And maybe there was a version of you that was somehow tied to this nostalgia trap, where you were fine without growing, where you were fine with kind of romanticizing certain memories about who you used to be. Like you have to desire change so much so that when you get hit with this shot, you don't drop the seed and you keep growing. Y'all, that's what this plan was. Obviously, if we're talking about it, it wasn't successful, but that's really how I'm seeing it. Whatever it is that you're carrying, right before you plan it, somebody shoots you. It appears to be an accident. But the shot itself is trying to trigger a version of you. That's like saying today, if I ask you your name, you say, "Oh, my name is Samantha." "Oh, my name is Samantha." But back in the day, you used to go by Sammy. And so when somebody fires a shot, Sammy is what they write on the bullet, because when it hits you, they are wanting Sammy to come out. They're not wanting Samantha to come out. So it looks random, but it's really because Samantha is about to grow some shit, and we know Sammy would never be able to do this. So if we hit you with something old, if we hit you with something familiar, maybe you'll wake up. Maybe you'll respond with an old or a familiar version of self. That was the plan. But if you were even in the company or in the presence of people who could take this type of shot, meaning whoever sent this shot to you, they already knew Sammy and they're witnessing Samantha. So these are people close enough to shoot. I know snipers take long distance shots, but if we're talking about nostalgia, this is somebody who's been around for a while and they want a version of you to come back to the forefront. And so they got to shoot you before this change, before this transformation, before you totally accept who you are and you stand in all of the blessing that is you. We got to take you out. Y'all, this is somebody who doesn't want to watch you transition from Sammy to Samantha. And that's just a random name. It could totally mean something to somebody, but that's what I'm getting. I'm looking at Samantha developing and growing, and I can't stand it. And so I'm going to trap them in a period of time where, one, they couldn't see me for the shooter that I am, right? And they can't see me because this is somebody who only tries to remember good things. They dismiss the bad. And so you don't even remember your history right. And if you don't remember your history right, then a lot of the same shooters that took shots are going to continue to be able to take shots at you. After nostalgia trap, I have the devil. And so when I trap you, I am trapping you to a devil, right? Let's say when we're Sammy, that is the devilish version of our conscious personality. But when we're Samantha, we're refined, we're strong, we're mature. And so to trap you as Sammy is to get you to be a devil of self, meaning when you're Sammy, your darkness rules. Your darkness is driving your consciousness. In this deck, devil talks about anger, violence, intimidation, evil thoughts, magic, somebody who is seeking power, but they're using it in order to have power over others. Like, I want power because I don't want you to be free. This is what this trap is. I also have the energy of envious gluttony. Envious gluttony. This talks about envy, anger, but also denial. And so you got to help me with this one. Imagine that like you're looking in the face of an animal and this animal is hungry, but it doesn't want you to know it's hungry. And so it kind of has this mask on, but right under the mask, it is ready to devour you. But it doesn't want you to know how hungry it is. That's the type of spirit of this person, or that's the type of spirit that they want you to be trapped in. Envious gluttony. And listen, the way that people attack you, the way that people try to trap you is an indication of what they're already battling with. They don't want to battle with it anymore, so they try to give the battle to you in the form of a curse, in the form of a hex. I am spiritually going to assign you the very thing that I cannot overcome. The way that people attack you is an indication of what they cannot overcome. And so there is something about you being the seedling of change, that when certain people are opposite you, it's like they got to put the animal to sleep. There's an animal in their spirit that is lurking, desiring, and wanting what you have. It makes them angry that they cannot have what you have. And remember, they're noticing this more so when you are Samantha. And so if I trap you as Sammy, I don't have to try to get this beast to go back to sleep. I don't have to fight off my gluttony. I don't have to fight off the envy and the jealousy. So this is all about the power, but this is your power. This reading says literally this is your time to shine. Not everybody is going to like your shine. And so when you're shining, some people will speak, hoping that the cloudy day is going to trump your reality. It's going to trump your identity. And so this is somebody watching you about to take off, and they fire a shot with an old name, an old identity, trying to get you to bind yourself to an old devil or an old way. But inside of this person, they are trying to pretend like they are not as hungry as they are to have what it is you have. And that is raw power. There's no other way to describe what it is you have except for power. It is your power. You have the power to fulfill things. You have the power that will allow you to experience fulfillment. Somebody wants to experience fulfillment. And so when they fire a shot, they are wanting to pull up a memory. They are wanting to pull up an emotional state, meaning I'm looking at Samantha, but when I take this shot, it has Sammy written on this bullet because I want to wake Sammy up. My handmade card says, a memory without the emotional change is called wisdom. The only way you are now Samantha is because you are wise in ways that you were not when you were Sammy. And so if you get hit with this shot, and if Sammy does not come back, this means because you have faced all of your fears. There were a lot of things that Sammy was afraid of that Samantha is no longer fearful of. And so if you really faced your fears, if you really transformed all of your fear into raw power, if you confronted everything that made you anxious, if you looked and stared into the eyes of everything that made you afraid or uncomfortable, when you get hit with a bullet called Sammy, you should not change to Sammy because you have already faced Sammy's fears. Hence why you can walk around as Samantha. So we got the Seven of Wands, which is literally standing your ground. This means I don't care how many bullets the devil fires at you, you are going to win. Even in a situation like this, where you may have felt energetically outnumbered, you literally win. A card says, I won't cry for you. And I really feel like this is an internal battle, a conversation with self. When the devil shoots you with an older version of self, you have to fight that energy off inside of you and decide that, listen, not only do I accept Sammy back, but when Sammy is forever gone, I won't even cry for Sammy. Right? Not only are you not going to get me to pull up the memory, but if the memory happens to come up, the emotions attached to that memory that triggered me to become more like Sammy is not going to come because wisdom has replaced it. I replaced every fear and every illusion with wisdom. Y'all, this is about a battle. And there were bullets being fired about you that caused this. It caused you to stand up for you, even if you didn't know who was firing the shot. And this is about somebody being so mad that you have the power to reach your own fulfillment, not wanting to see it. Finally, the reading ends with a gateway. The gateway says, this moment is going to take you to a point of profound revelation. It is going to be so much easier for you to manifest your dreams. The inner illuminations that you are about to have access to that really shape you and mold you at this seedling for change, like all of that version that is attached to Samantha is on the other side. This is almost like one final test, meaning God is like, all right, I listen, the devil really wants to shoot you. The devil does not believe that you are Samantha. The devil does not want to believe that you are saved and sanctified and healed and loving on yourself. The devil doesn't want to believe it. And so I'm going to allow the devil to bring me their most envious, their most gluttonous, whatever the word is, beast. Right? I'm going to allow the devil to send forth a beast that wants nothing but power. It wants everything that you are. This situation will be very uncomfortable and this is a trial, but when you make it out, you will be stronger, you will be matured, and you will be refined in ways that you could not have. And the only way you beat this beast is that when the bullet hits you, you do not become the version of you that you used to become. Which means you can have the memory, you can recognize I can't speak, y'all. I just can't. I want to say familiarity, right? Like it can be familiar, but you can't act familiar. And so God is like, all right, now I revealed to you that you are the seedling for change. And if you are walking change, you don't ever have to be the same on any given day. You can do what you want. Okay, but I really got to know that you're a seedling for change. And so why not allow a beast of the past to try to condemn you and tie you to an older version of who you used to be? Y'all, this seems like a trap, but it was also a battle and it was also a test. And so you're on the gateway of experiencing the version of you that you first had to become in order to beat this devil, in order to heal from this bullet. Whatever this bullet was, the bullet could have been anything, but it was something that was supposed to stop you from transforming, developing, and growing into yourself. Fuck whatever it is you're going to create. You can only create it if you first create it in you. Somebody didn't even want you to create that in you. And so the bullet was strategically, it was an energetic bomb, but it was supposed to feel like something of the past. It was supposed to trigger a memory. It was supposed to cause an emotional change that would have caused you to bypass every stitch of wisdom that you carry. The outcome of this reading says that we have positive social engagement and relationship skills. So this is the very thing that may have been attacked. If you are a trigger point, if you are a seedling for change, I almost imagine like somebody who has to be comfortable traveling, kind of like a gypsy in spirit, because you are the starting point for so much that you will have to be put in many spaces. Think about somebody who's like, God, every time I go to work, there's always a new company. There's always a new phase. There's also like, you're that person. And so it's more important to just be a part of the change, which means one of my cards says the fallacy of perfection. When we think about perfection, we think about the end. But if you are a trigger point, if you are a seedling for change, your job is to only be concerned with the beginning. We just got to get the soil moving. We just got to get the vines growing. We just got to get the stem to sprout. You only are concerned with the beginning. But perfection has all of us in a chokehold about what the end should look like. So that's a thinking about being perfect. Well, if I'm perfect, I'll be able to solve these problems, right? And so perfection makes you constantly chase something that is unattainable, but it's also not even real. So if you are the starting point of all things new, but you are tied up in the fallacy of perfection, this is about you not being able ever to really walk in what it means to be the kernel. So that could have been one of the fears of yours. Maybe you had a fear that things needed to look a perfect way or feel a perfect way. But if you are the seed, perfection, not only is it not real, but it's definitely not at the beginning. It's not at the part of the journey that you're responsible for. You just need to transform. You just need something to grow, to shift, to move to. You're looking for momentum. There is no perfect momentum. We just need momentum. So you got shot with a bullet that wanted you to sit stuck in the fallacy of perfection, not moving, not growing, because you felt like it had to look a certain way. All the while, it just had to look and feel like you, because you are the trigger. You are the kernel. No matter how you show up, it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that you show up. Y'all, so you obviously, if we're on the gateway of you walking into this power and fulfilling this power that you've always had the potential to carry, none of what was supposed to happen after you felt the impact of this shot, none of it happened, but it was a trial and it was a test. It was allowed to show to you, but also anybody that couldn't stand to watch you exist in this way, like who you really are. And if God allowed it, God already knew. I literally have God puts us in very uncomfortable trials. And then 2 cards later, we're talking about the devil by way of a nostalgia trap. God literally allowed a trap to come to you, and it really wanted you to respond. The trap, it needed you to respond to a different name, a different version of yourself. But you faced that fear already. You already slayed that demon inside of you. And one of the things that demon kept you prisoned to, or kept you prisoned with, is the idea of perfection. But if you're the kernel, you're the change. Perfection is, that is it will kill you every time. And so that was the point of whatever this shot was, y'all. This may have been a situation that could have happened anywhere in your life, but it was supposed to get you to stop. I think really it doesn't matter how slow you go. All you got to do is go. because you are the starting point. You are the jump off. And there's no way to start except to start. Starting doesn't have a look. Starting doesn't have a feel. Change, it just is. It just has to be something other than what it was. That's all change is. It's perfection, right? So y'all, the shot was supposed to trap you under the false pretenses of perfection being real. And then you were supposed to not try. You were supposed to totally stop. But it says now that you are becoming the child that you've always meant to be. However you go forward, you first had to go backward. So when you got shot with this shot, when you were in some type of environment that somehow felt nostalgic, that was the moment to step back. I got to take this hit. But when I take this hit, I'm not responding as Sammy. When I take this hit, I'm responding as Samantha. When I respond as Samantha, that is my indication that like the change is now. I'm here. Now I step through the gateway. The child I was meant to be, I actually have become that child. And I know that now because I did not respond in the way that I was groomed to respond. So the stray bullet, the sniper bullet, it was looking for a response. But you had already slayed that demon, which means you're not going to respond like the version of yourself that used to respond when you didn't slay the demon yet. I hope this is making sense, y'all. I do have the Queen of Cups out here. So either you are the Queen of Cups or there could have been a significant matriarch or maternal type of figure, somebody that you really gave a lot of love to, or you allowed them to take up a lot of your heart space. Something about that person could have been significant in like, I had to go back to a version of me in childhood because that was the same person that slowed me up. Like you slowed me up as a child and now I will face you as an adult because I got to make it past you. Whatever that is, that could be a person, or the Queen of Cups just talks about a gift, something awakening inside of you. So when you were a Page of Cups, you were stunted. And now as the Queen, as the adult version, it's like you're developing, you're already the Queen, but you kind of got to go and develop the part of you that was stagnated. And so if you get hit with the old shot, but you don't respond like you used to, that's the way to show that you are not that. You truly have changed. You have become this kernel, and there's no perfection that is keeping you trapped or imprisoned or bound. Not only are you at the gateway, but you made it through the gateway because of how you responded to this shot being fired. All right, y'all. I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.